Hey guys, today we're going to go ahead and talk about dividing decimals by whole numbers. So it's going to be when we have a decimal number on the inside of our house and a whole number on the outside. Oops. So our objectives today is to be able to divide decimals by whole numbers and to be able to place the decimal in the correct place in the solution. We're going to look at a few examples. So 19 and 800ths divided by 6. So since this is the first time we've talked about decimals or dividing, we need to talk about how to divide the numbers. So when you have 19 and 800ths divided by 6, which number goes inside the house? Because remember, when we divide, we draw a little house. One of the numbers needs to go in here. Do y'all know which one goes inside? Okay. So some of you might have known and some of you may not know. The way that I like to say it is when you have your division problem written out, the first person in line, so this number's in line first, gets to go inside the house first while the other person has to wait outside. So we're going to put 19 and 800ths inside the house and 6 goes outside the house. So our first step when we divide decimals by a whole number is we are going to look at where the decimal's at. Notice that in this case, the decimal is inside the house. If we have a decimal outside the house, we have to do something completely different, and we're not going to talk about that today in the video. That's going to be something we talk about another day. So we look where the decimal's at, and we're going to bring the decimal just straight up in our answer. And this is where a decimal is going to be in our answer. So if there's no decimal outside the house, there's just a decimal inside the house, all you have to do is bring your decimal straight up. That's where it's going to stay. Because we have a decimal though, guys, it's very, very, very important that you're lining up the numbers when you're dividing. If you're not lining up the numbers correctly, then your decimal is going to end up in the wrong spot. So you have to be very careful with that. Once you have your decimal there, you can ignore the decimal as far as the rest of the division goes. Just pretend it's not there as long as it's sitting where it goes in the answer. That's all you have to do with it. So we're going to go ahead and divide this. 6 goes into 1. How many times? No times. This is what I'm talking about. We have to be careful to line this up. So I'm going to put an X here to hold that space, or you could put a 0. Make sure you're not putting a number above that, or you're going to end up getting the wrong answer. So 6 didn't go into 1. Can 6 go into 19? Yes. 6 can go into 19 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. So we bring the 18 down here, and we subtract. 19 minus 18 is 1. The decimal should have been here, but like I said, since we already put the decimal in our answer, it doesn't matter. We're just going to bring down the 0. 6 goes into 10 one time. So notice I'm putting this 1 right above the 0. Make sure you're lining that up. 6 times 1 is 6. And 10 minus 6 is 4. So then I bring down my 8. Can 6 go into 48? Yes. 6 times 8 is 48. So we're going to bring an 8 up here. Notice I wrote the 8 right above the other 8. 6 times 8 is 48. So subtract. I have nothing left. So I am done. So my answer for 19 and 800ths divided by 6 is 3 and 1800ths. If you hadn't put the 3 right above the 9, if you had put it above the 1 over here, your decimal then would have ended up in the wrong spot and you might have came up with 31 and 8/10 or something. Make sure you're very, 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 very careful. I can't say it enough because regardless of how many times I say it, I know some of you are still not going to line it up because I've seen y'all doing that on some of the practice we've done on dividing. So be very careful with that.